Hey, what is up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me today in the Beginner's Masterclass. I'm here to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. If you're watching us live right now, tell us where in the world you're watching from. I'm so excited because we already have hundreds of people watching right now. And there's going to be hundreds more watching a replay. So yes, there will be a replay available. But we're going to go over a lot of stuff today, and I hope you have your notepad or pen or paper available because we're going to go over some stuff that's going to help you understand what your next steps should be. Now, many of you may have gone through Build Your Own Brand, which is our free course to help you build a website and a brand from scratch. Let me know in the chat if, in fact, you've participated in that and let us know how you did. Whether you finished that or not, and by finished, I mean you have a website up and running, you are able to share it with different kinds of people. I know what you might be feeling. You might be feeling a little bit scared or a little bit intimidated about, well, what your next steps might be, or actually putting yourself out there in the world. But I promise you, it is so worth the ability to serve others, getting paid back in return. So today we're going to answer a number of questions that you're likely thinking about right now. And even if you're a little behind and you haven't gotten your website up yet, that's okay, because a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today will help set you up for success. I also want to give a big shout out and thank you to our sponsor for this particular masterclass today, and that is AppSumo. AppSumo is a really cool tool that allows you, as you are starting your entrepreneurial journey, to find really amazing deals and sweet offers for things that will help you along the way. I mean, there are literally hundreds of different things, and you don't need all of them, just the things that you might need as you grow your business. They're all there and available for you. So really excited today because we're going into the Beginner's Masterclass. And again, I appreciate you being here. Let's say hello to some people here. We got Deborah, Michael, we got Team Severns, Tom, Karen, Armone, Chuck, Mentor Motivations, Michael Forrest, Jason White, Scyther Jace, Kathy, Jacob, Wendy, Sherry. Okay, I could spend an hour talking about and thanking everybody who's here, but for right now, let's just dive right in. So the Beginner's Masterclass. I need some help. I want to know if any of these things have crossed your mind with where you are at in business or the start of your journey. I'm not good enough. There's too much competition. Have you said these things to yourself? I don't know everything I need to know. I'm just wasting my time. Why would anyone pay attention to me? And I failed before, and I'll probably fail again. Now, these are all things that I've personally said to myself at one point in time, not just in the beginning of my journey, but also throughout. Every time I've started something new, there's always been something in my mind that tells me one, if not sometimes all of these things. Which one of these resonates with you the most? For me, it was definitely, there was too much competition when I started to get into a different niche or topic, and I started out in the architecture industry. It was very clear that there were other people who had done something similar before me. So why would people listen to me? And we're going to talk about some of those strategies to help you stand out of the crowd today. The other thing was just, I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think that I had anything worth anything to anybody. I didn't have a lot of value. But the truth is, we all have, through our own experiences and our own learnings, the ability to help people who, yeah, they might be able to get help from somebody else, but they want help from you too. But you have to show up and you have to build those foundations, which is exactly what we're going to do today. So before we get into the strategies on how to get found and how to grow your audience and even how to monetize, we do have to talk about what goes on up here too. Because what goes on up here is often more important than what goes on down here, because without up here, then none of the strategies really matter. We're always going to get in our own way and all those kinds of things too. So yes, imposter syndrome comes into play, the fear of failure, perfectionism, self-doubt. These are all things that are very natural. So you're not alone. I felt these things myself too, and still feel them sometimes, but we can sort of change that energy from scared, nervous energy to excited and optimistic energy. And hopefully coming out of today, you're going to have some strategies and specific steps that you can do to do that. So here are some truths about building a business, things that will hopefully relieve a lot of the stress for you. Number one, you don't have to be the expert. You don't have to be the expert. When I first started out, I thought I had to be the number one guy or the girl who had to, I'm not a girl, but I had to be the number one personality who knew everything about a particular topic before anybody could listen to me. And the truth is, like I said, you don't have to be the expert. I mean, what is even an expert to begin with? And in many cases, people will resonate with you because you're just a couple steps ahead. Because the truth is, in order to be an expert, all you have to do is know a little bit more than somebody else. You can completely change a person's life by sharing something that you've just gone through. And this is why a lot of people hesitate to start online, is because they think that they have to have all the knowledge in the world. But the truth is, you can share your journey and the things you learn along the way. So as you are creating content, as you're putting yourself out there, you can actually share some of the things that you're learning. In fact, I'm doing this right now on a Pokemon-based YouTube channel here on YouTube, where I'm just saying straight up, I'm not the expert on Pokemon cards and collectibles, but I am sharing the things that I'm picking up along the way, and you can get authority through building trust, creating content that actually is helpful for people, through the connections that you make, and I'll share some fun and exciting ways that you might be able to build a connection with other people in your space. The truth is, you don't have to be the expert. You just have to be expert enough, right? You just have to be expert enough. Hey, Beth, great to see you here. Sean, Peter, thank you. Imposter syndrome through the roof for me today. Yeah, it's a very common thing. But again, you can serve somebody because we don't sometimes realize how much we know or how much we've picked up, and somebody just starting out or just learning about the thing that you've just learned is going to feel lost, and you can help them along the way. So you don't have to be the expert. Next, you don't have to be the only one either. There are a lot of things that really try to stop us from getting started. And one of those things, again, is competition. We might think that because somebody else has done this longer than us, or somebody is more outro or extroverted, has a lot more character or personality than we do, we think that we can't compete with them. But the truth is, there's enough for everybody. I always approach this business stuff with the idea that we live in a world of abundance, where it's not like a poker table. If you've ever played poker or know how that works, you know that when you win, that means somebody else loses, right? There's only a certain number of chips available, and when somebody else wins, that might be you losing your chips, and there's only a finite number of chips available on the table. But that's not how it is online. The truth is, there are unlimited amounts of chips that can come from anywhere, from outside the table, and those chips come from serving others in the way that you can do it. Your personality and your experience is 100% original. Nobody is like you. And that's something that you should definitely take advantage of. You, the unique things that you have to offer, the unique things that you have to share, your unique take, your unique stance, your unique experiences can become something that other people can resonate with. I was definitely not the first person to build an online business in the architecture space and helping people with this exam, which is what I got started with in 2008. And that was my first online business. I was definitely not the first person to teach people how to do podcasting, but people wanted to learn from me because of the trust that they built with me online and the value that I provided initially. And we'll talk about exactly how you can provide value to your audience as well. But again, with that trust, you earn the ability to capture a person's attention and then offer them something. It could be something of your own. It could be something that somebody else has created that you can earn a commission for. So many different ways to monetize. And again, we have a lot to cover today. So welcome in, everybody. Thank you. There will be a replay link sent out later. Big shout out to one of our team members, Jonathan here, who's in the chat to keep everything going in the chat room. So thank you again, Jonathan. Let's go to the third and final point and truth about building an online business. And that is this: you don't have to wait for the right time. How many of you have been waiting on starting your business because it just didn't feel like the right time? And I'll tell you, this is very common. And this isn't just for starting a business. We often wait for these very difficult things and decisions we have to make. We have to sometimes like say, oh, well, I'll do it next week, or I'll do it next year, or, you know, things aren't aligned yet. I remember when we bought our house, we were making every excuse in the book that this wasn't the right time to buy this house that we're in right now. And yet it became something awesome and a part of our lives now, obviously. When starting my business, I could have waited until I had my website perfect, till I had a certain number of people on my email list, or a certain number of logos created for my social streams. However, those are often excuses. If you're finding yourself making excuses like, well, it's just not the right time yet, or I'm going to wait till this happens or this happens, then essentially you are just shielding yourself from the possibility of you to serving others and showing up and being there for people. Every day you go making those excuses is a day you're not allowing yourself to connect with your audience, which is the big idea here. We want to connect with our audience, and those excuses, those walls that we put up, are shielding us from that. We want to break through those walls and get out there and start helping people, right? And you can help people without being perfect. As long as you are trying to serve first, right? This is why I wore this shirt today. As long as you're there and you care about helping others, you don't have to be perfect in doing that. It's the why behind what you're doing that matters, and the idea that you can make things better over time. And here's a phrase that really captured my attention when I first started out, and that was this: you have to be a disaster before you become the master, right? You'll see this on YouTube quite a bit. If you're starting a YouTube channel, a lot of people say you got to get through your first 100 videos before you start seeing anything. And that's quite a lot. There's some other platforms like podcasting and such where you can get some results a little faster, but you do have to put yourself out there. You do have to make those mistakes and realize that perfection is not going to happen. Like, that's just a myth. That's just an excuse. That's just procrastination. You can learn so much more by failing and falling forward, learning, reiterating, and keeping going. That's, to me, what entrepreneurship is. Trial and error to get to a point of service to others, because that's what all good businesses do. They all serve other people. Peter says, do it now, because now is always what comes next. I love that, Peter. Thank you. Better late than never. The power of now, for sure. Destiny Show. Boris is in the house. Boris, congrats on your recent success. I've seen that in the communities of just what you've been able to do. So well done. All right, so here is what we're going to be tackling today. Here are the questions we're going to be tackling today. Question number 1, how do you get found? So you have this website, or you have a brand or a podcast or what have you. Well, how do we even get found from there? Number 2, how do you build an audience? Okay, well, what's the difference? Well, you can capture people's attentions and get found, but it's another thing to keep them and hold their attention and have them continue to come back. We want to build an audience, one that can come to expect something from you and continue to come back for you as well. Number 3, how do you begin to monetize? So this is where we start to get into, well, what can we offer our audience in exchange for some money? And monetization and selling things often will make people cringe sometimes. But the truth is, you can sell and serve at the same time. And that's where it comes from. If you are ever selling something, here's a tip. If you're ever selling something or promoting something and it feels a little icky to you, then that probably means you don't believe that this thing you're selling is truthfully going to help people, or you have some sort of reservation about it. But imagine that this thing you're promoting, whether it's your own product or somebody else's, is the cure for a person's problems or challenges or pains. It's almost your responsibility at that point to let a person know how that might be able to help them. I think it's because we've been conditioned through how easy it is to start an online business. We get in front of some people who may not be doing it for the right reasons, who may be doing it because they want to just push things in front of our face and make a bunch of money without actually providing any value or service. And that's sort of tainted or bad taste in our mouth with relation to what we would be able to do when selling. But if you are serving, you can sell and serve at the same time. And then fourth and finally, from here, well, where do we go from here? That's going to be our fourth thing we're going to talk about that I'll send you off with. Okay, so let's start with question number 1. How do we get found? All right, so here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to be writing on the screen for you just to keep it a little bit more interactive, and we're going to go from there. So there's a couple ways you can get found. There's different kinds of marketing or ways that you might be able to capture people's attention. The first one we're going to talk about is what we call outbound, right? Outbound, which is more like a push. We'll talk about the opposite of that, which is what I recommend. But I think it's important to talk about this because this is something that exists. This is something that a lot of us know about. But this is what I like to call megaphone marketing, right? Like if you imagine like a megaphone, this is you shouting out, interrupting people like you're on the street trying to capture people's attention. And to me, this kind of marketing doesn't feel very great. I had once been positioned at a job, I'm not going to mention the company, where I had to stand on a street corner and interrupt people. And online, this can definitely happen through the means of things like ads. So let's write these things down. Number 1, we have ads, so paid ads. Number 2, things like share for share. That means you reach out to somebody and say, hey, can you promote my stuff? Because if you do that, I'll promote your stuff. And that's sort of, again, outbound, you pushing your messages out and interrupting and not really providing value necessarily, but just hopefully trying to capture people's attention, like a billboard on the street, right? It's not really there to teach or help you do anything. It's just, hey, pay attention to me, right? Number 3, and this is really what it is. It's look at me, or look at this. Look at me, look at this, interruptions, right? And this is hard. This requires some skill, right? Copywriting, really understanding how to do ads on platforms like Facebook or Instagram. There's also YouTube ads are really good. But again, skill and interruption. You need to really know where to target people. And I'm not saying ads and things like that are bad. All I'm saying is it is something that requires a lot more money and time to figure out. Now, once you figure it out, it can be really great because it becomes like a machine. You put $1 in, you get $2 out. You put $3 in, you get $6 out, especially if you have an offer on the other end. But I like, and I prefer something different. I prefer what they like to call magnetic marketing. So magnetic, and it sounds exactly like it is. It's a magnet, right? And this is something that attracts people because of something that you're doing and something that you're offering. So this is more of a pull. This is more of a pull. And this is what I prefer because this all comes down to creating, and we've all heard the creator economy, right? Creating content that attracts, that teaches, that's a resource that will pull people in many different ways. Now, there are some ways that other tools will help you. There is something called SEO, or search engine optimization. But the problem with search engine optimization, again, this is attracting, this is magnetic. You create something, it pulls people in for you. The struggle with that is, although it's automatic, it takes time. And just to set some expectations, if you, takes time. If you just to set some expectations, if you're creating content like on a website or on YouTube, for example, it might take months before you actually see any results as a result of search engines. People looking up something that you just created something about. It can take time for that connection to happen, right? And Destiny Show Boris here, he works in the SEO industry. He says, SEO takes time to build and grow, right? So there you go. Number 2, creating content and magnetic marketing. To me, relationships. Relationships are amazing because when you build relationships, real authentic relationships, people will be attracted to you and maybe even send people your way. If a person, another influencer or a thought authority, a leader, a owner of a website, a podcast host starts sending people your way, they're not only putting people into your ecosystem, they're putting people into your ecosystem with an endorsement. And that's absolutely huge. So to me, relationships, that's the number one way that I've been able to get to where I'm at. And for me as an introvert, that was a little hard to do at first. I thought I could do this all by myself. But relationships, although great, they are harder to establish, right? Especially if you're a little bit introverted. So harder to establish. Just trust me that says establish. Sorry. Number 3, on social media. Now we talked about social media in inbound in push marketing, and social media on social media like push marketing or megaphone marketing is like, look at me, but that's not the case here. With pull magnetic marketing is, here's what I have to offer you. Hey, I can see where you're at. It's what I like to call joining the conversation. Joining the conversation. Social media is sort of like a big party. Right? Imagine a big party. It's like a big giant gym. If you do a giant party with hundreds of people, you're going to know that there's cliques, right? There's circles and groups of people here who sort of already get to know each other. Or all the jocks are over here, and all the band nerds, that's where I was, are over here, and all the drama people are over here. That's kind of what it's like. Here's all the people talking about something here. Here's all the people talking about something here. Now, what you don't want to do on social media is go up to one of these groups, brand new, they don't know who you are, and you open your trench coat and you're like, hey, you want to buy this Tupperware? That's never going to work. They don't even know who you are. You haven't even joined the conversation. And that's kind of what the previous set of marketing was like. We want to join the conversation and go, hey, what are you guys talking about? Oh, I did that too. Let me show you something and teach you something that I've learned. You join the conversation, you become welcomed. And then people start asking you, well, what are you interested in? What are you doing? What do you have going on? And that's my approach for social media. Right? It's a place to join conversations, not to just be a megaphone, right? That's how I prefer it. And then number four here is word of mouth. This is my thing that I often tell people. This is what you want to shoot for. It's not necessarily something that can be strategized, although in a way, if you provide more value, obviously people are going to start talking. But word of mouth, again, it happens more slowly, but it can pick up steam. It can grow exponentially. So starting small is really the purpose here, and getting to know who your audience is, right? The difference is, before it was interruption. This time it's empathy, right? Empathy. Understanding where your target audience is at and helping them learn that you are interested and care for them, right? So how many of you have heard of or know Tim Ferriss? Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Workweek, right? Very influential for me. But I dug into his story a little bit more, and I was curious, how did Tim Ferriss get 4-Hour Workweek on the map? He barely had a blog at the time, and how did he even get noticed and became a New York Times, Wall Street Journal best-selling author? Well, here's what he did. Back in 2005, 2006, as he was writing this book, he went to different conferences, and he, instead of going to different people and saying, hey, check out this book, look at what I'm working on, he got so interested in what other people were doing. I know this specifically because I heard this story firsthand from somebody who Tim approached. It was actually Jeremy Franson from Internet Business Mastery from back in the day, an older podcast that I used to listen to. He said that Tim came up to him and his partner Jason and said, hey, what are you guys working on? Tell me about this podcasting thing, because Tim didn't know about podcasting at the time. And he got so interested in what Jason and Jeremy were doing that Jeremy and Jason turned around and said, Tim, you've been so awesome listening and offering your advice and like value here. What are you doing? And that was his way to start letting people know, with permission essentially, that he had this amazing book called The 4-Hour Workweek. And of course, because it turned heads, because it was a little different, people started talking about it, writing about it, and helped them out on that day. So he got so interested in what other people were doing that they became interested in him. And so that's what I implore for you. How can you get so interested in what your target audience is doing? Immerse yourself in that space, truly. And this is a quote that was given to me by my coach. And that's something I want to pass on to you. And that is this: stop trying to be so interesting and start getting interested. Let me say that one more time. Stop trying to be so interesting and start getting interested. And even if you can find a few people that you can learn all about and understand, that can help your business and brand grow exponentially, because those people are a reflection of the much larger whole of people like them, that niche, right? As I often say, the riches are in the niches. Okay. So stop trying to be so interesting and start getting interested. You know, I would much rather have, like, you just started a website or you have a brand or a podcast. I'd much rather have 100 people who I know all about, who come and listen to every show or visit the blog every time I come out with a new blog post, than 1 million visitors who don't even care, who are all across different niches and different needs, different problems, different pains, different requirements. I would much rather have a stronger, smaller group. And that's the game you want to play today. Back in the day, you could do a thing where you create something and, you know, millions of people would find it, and it was kind of like a throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks situation. Today, you got to be a little bit more refined in your approach. So who is it that you're serving? What problems do they have? Create content that answers those questions, that discuss those problems, and attract the right people, right? Great content. Thank you, Rosa. I appreciate that. Awesome. And thanks for the likes, by the way. I appreciate that. Putting that one on my whiteboard, says Jace. Awesome. Yeah, it's so true. It works really, really well when you approach it that way. Okay. So we answered the first question, but I know you might be thinking, well, what content platform might work best, Pat? Well, I might be a little bit biased, but a lot of you know that my favorite content platform is what? Any guesses? You know, I am on YouTube. I've had a blog. In fact, the blog was the first thing that started. But my number one recommended platform right now, if you are going to build a relationship with your audience, if you're going to use your platform to, and you still need a website if you have a YouTube channel or a podcast, it brings people back into a hub. But as far as where you're going to plant yourself to start sharing this content, to connect with people, a lot of you know this answer already, but it's a podcast. A podcast for several different reasons. Number one, there's just less competition. There's just less of them, right? I think I once heard recently that there were 500 million active blogs. 500 million, that's 500 million active blogs. That's a lot of content being written out there. And I think we all know and can feel how saturated that is. On YouTube, there are about 50 million active YouTube channels, which is far less than blogs, but still a ton. And there's a lot of competition. There's the algorithm to worry about and all this kind of stuff. There are only 1 million podcasts. And in fact, active podcasts, there's less than that. Only 1 million podcasts. The reason is because it was really hard in the beginning to actually create a podcast. Number two, it was something that people didn't know how to discover. And now, worldwide, everybody knows what a podcast is. And today, this is the best opportunity. It's also the best opportunity because it's easier. To me, it's easier than writing. You might debate that, but that's okay. But it's definitely easier than filming. Trust me. You don't need to put on makeup. You don't need to put on pants. You could I podcast with pants on, I promise. But you don't need to be seen. You just need to be heard. And you can just focus on that one medium, which is audio, right? So it's much easier to create. Number three, again, and I've talked about this before, relationships. There's a reason why I've been able to build a relationship with Tim Ferriss and Gary Vaynerchuk and many other people. In fact, some of my best friends in the online space are a result of the fact that I had a podcast to invite them on to have a conversation with. Because it's so much easier to invite somebody to have a conversation with you if they know it's going to be recorded and published out there, right? And EDU Gals says podcasting is also great for introverts like us. Indeed, for sure. But I wouldn't have been able to have a 20-minute conversation with Gary Vee if I just said, hey, could I have a 20-minute conversation with you? But instead, when his book came out, I said, hey, I'd love to promote your book on my podcast and have a conversation with you about it. Okay. It was funny, though, because he said, okay, you got 10 minutes, let's go. And I said, 10 minutes? I had to take what I could get. But Gary's Gary, right? But relationships are incredible. But not only that, not just relationships with people that you can bring on. In fact, I have a podcasting course called Power Up Podcasting. I'll tell you a little bit about it later. We have a special offer for you who are here. A lot of my students create a podcast simply because they want to build relationships with people. They literally don't care if there's listens. They just want it to be an excuse to talk to industry leaders in their space. And what happens is, as a byproduct, they start building an audience. They start becoming an authority because there's not many podcasts about those things. And they start getting invited onto other shows and they start building their expertise. That can happen too, which is pretty cool. And number 4 here is it holds more attention. Definitely. Now, if you think about YouTube and, whoops, what happened there? Whoa. It holds more attention. What I mean by that is if you consider a YouTube channel, for example, a YouTube channel might have a person watch a video, unless it's a live stream like this. The average is about 5, maybe even 4 minutes, the length that you might watch a video. A person might spend 10 minutes reading a blog post, maybe shorter. On social media, you have the attention span of an ant, right? It's like 1 second and then it's gone. But on a podcast, you can hold a person's attention for 30 minutes to 1 hour to sometimes 2 hours for shows like The Joe Rogan Show or Hardcore History, which I listen to. It's because of the passive nature of where people are consuming that content. So if you were like, okay, I have this website, it's like my home for my brand, but where can I go and reach new people? Where can I build an audience? Where can I connect with others? I would definitely recommend and offer checking out a podcast. A podcast for you could be really great, and it provides a lot of authority, and it can help you build a platform of amazing fans over time too. Definitely. Okay, so that was answering question number 1. How do you get found? You got to create stuff that is noteworthy, that is remarkable, that has a position, that gets people interested to come back to you, and then you can build your audience from there, right? Which is exactly what we're going to talk about next. So let's talk about audience building. So how do you build an audience? So like I said earlier, let me sort of shrink this down a little bit. There we go. So it's one thing to capture a person's attention because you are creating something that is worthwhile for them to pay attention to because somebody else endorsed you and has you on their podcast, for example. But it's another thing to keep people around. And that's what we're going to talk about in this section. Very important. I have a book called Superfans, which many of you may have seen or read. A lot of this stuff will repeat that because this is so important. The initial moments that you have with a person are key to developing those moments over time that help a person become a super fan. So let's talk about number 1, connecting, right? Whoa. I got it right on a layer. There we go, right there. All right. So number 1, connect. How do we connect with a person? That's really what it's about. Not just having them find you, but connecting with you, right? So there's a number of ways to do this. A, learn the language. Learn the language that your target audience, whoa, I don't know how to spell. There we go. I'm like multitasking like crazy right now, but we're okay. We also have a screen in the back, by the way. Hey, everybody. If you're in the back just chilling, not participating in the chat, that's okay too. I appreciate you being here and spending time. We're going to go for another half hour here as we go through this. Right now, we're talking about how to build an audience. And number 1, we need to connect with them, right? It's one thing to be found. It's another thing to have them continue to want to come back and learn more from you. So learn the language. When a person comes to your webpage or listens to your podcast or watch your videos, if you are speaking the same language as them, that's like 50% of the work right there. They now know that you know what position they're in, that you're perhaps very relatable, and that you can understand what their pains and problems are. So when you were doing your research out there, I want you to be sure that you go out there and not just find where people are, but also have them understand sort of that you know what they're going through. So learn the language or the lyrics, right? It's why we connect with certain songs. It's why Taylor Swift grew so big, because all of her songs were perfectly placed for her target demographic, right? So learn the lyrics, understand the language that your audience uses, and then repeat it back to them on your different platforms where you're creating content and resources. Use that same language. That's going to be number one, or letter one. Letter A. B, small, quick wins. My absolute favorite way to capture a person's attention and keep it. So, what is a small, quick win? A small, quick win is something that you could offer a person who just finds you or just listens to you or just watches your video, that they can get something within 5 to 10 minutes that they didn't have when they arrived. A small, quick win. Quick story. I remember reading a blog called iwillteachyoutoberich.com, and I wasn't really a big fan of it. It was run by a man named Ramit Sethi, and I wasn't really a fan of it. I was more a fan of these other blogs like Get Rich Slowly by J.D. Roth and some other ones, Trent Disman's Simple Dollar, which were more about, slowly growing your retirement portfolio. I was definitely into personal finance back in architecture days. But iwillteachyoutoberich.com was very popular, but it wasn't my cup of tea. Until one day, I came across a blog post that Ramit wrote, and this blog post said, save hundreds on your cable bill in 15 minutes doing this one thing. And I said, 15 minutes, that's all it's going to take? Really? Okay, well, I'll give it a shot. It's not going to take that long. So what I did was I read this blog post, and in this blog post, he basically wrote a script of everything you should do after calling your cable company to save money. So I called my cable company at work in the middle of the day, and I just went through the script. In 15 minutes, I was able to save about 20% of my cable bill. Just like that. And you can be sure that my mentality about all of Ramit's stuff changed right at that moment. Because think about the difference here. Ramit gave me a win and saved me real dollars within just a few minutes. All these other websites, these personal finance websites, were telling me to put away $20 a month until I was 65, and then I could reap the rewards of that. So although you might want to change life, although you might have big plans for your audience, if you want to change somebody's life, start by changing their day first, right? So speak to them in their language and give them a small, quick win. What's the biggest, quickest pain that you could solve for them? Create a free piece of content around that. That's something that then gets shared and talked about that can then eventually rank higher, right? Hi from the back, paying close attention. Thanks, Michelle. Very cool. And then C, you want to have something relatable, something personal. Now, you don't have to share every bit and moment of your life with somebody, but when you start talking about who you are and like stuff that you would talk about with your friends, people can be more likely to become your friend when they find you online. This is why a lot of people resonate with me, because I'm more of the internet business guy, but the family man at the same time, versus a lot of these other people who are more travelers, or they're renting Lamborghinis and staying in mansions and stuff. That's not me. I'm more, I need to do this so that we can have financial security, and that's one of my positions. And so that's how I can relate to my audience and how they can relate back to me. Even talking about things that maybe they might be into. For example, the fact that I'm a the Future fan. It just makes me more human, because that's what this is about. It's not about the business to business connection or business to customer or B2C connection. It's, as my friend Chris Ducker says, it's the P2P connection, the person to person relationship. And the more that you can become a real person, the more that your personality shows up, the more likely people are going to connect with you. The right people are going to connect with you, right? The more likely the right people are going to connect with you. And yeah, some people might not like certain things about who you are, and that's okay, because that's not your target audience. I think it's totally okay to step into who you are and embrace your weird, right? So embrace your weird. And a great way to do that is by telling story. Tell more story. You've even heard me tell a few stories a couple times today. Stories are great. They're a great way to sort of interrupt the learning, but they're also a great way to actually teach and to get things to stick. Because when things become relatable, that's when emotion comes into it. So tell your story and have a person connect with you for that. Then you can teach them, and that's how you can capture a person's attention, right? There we go. All right, number 2. So we talked about connection. Let's talk about your email list. Very, very important. Something that was a huge mistake in my business journey twice. 2 times I started businesses and I didn't have an email list because I didn't think it was important, but it is absolutely important. Number one, just logistically, it's important because if your website goes down or you were hacked like my website was in 2013, I still had my email list and I wasn't afraid because if my website was never going to come back, I could set up shop somewhere else because I had something to continually stay connected with my audience with. I had an email list, so that's number one. Number two, it's a great way to get people who are warm, people who know who you are, they enjoy what you're doing, and they want to hear from you. And they might be great to provide some products to and offers to. They might be great to be providing feedback back to you about something so you can stay in the right lane. These are your best people on your email list. Let me know in the chat if you have an email list yourself. Give me a yes. And if not, that's okay. There's always a chance to start one, and I can help you do that. But it is great. It is great. I often say emails aren't a one-way street. And this is how a lot of people treat them. Sometimes you might be on the receiving end of a one-way conversation, but to me, it's a two-way conversation, right? It's not just you saying, hey, look at this or look at me. It's not a broadcast, although sometimes it can be. It's also a place to ask, right? It's a place for you to come and go, hey, well, what are you struggling with right now? What are you challenged with? Imagine using your autoresponder, which is a series of automatic emails that get sent out after a person subscribes to you. One of those emails can be something like, what are you struggling with right now? Imagine every day getting somebody who is warm in your audience telling you, hey, I need help with this. I need help with that. You can start to notice which ones are being asked about more, and those can become your major blog posts or even products or services or programs you can offer down the road. And this way, you're not even guessing anymore. Email to me is the perfect place to stop guessing and get direct feedback and direct direction from your audience. So email for sure, email. And then number three, consistency. Being consistent is key here when it comes to keeping a person's attention and growing an audience. Because a person could find you once and maybe even subscribe, but unless you are continually coming out with stuff that can help and serve them, it can be very difficult for them to stay in your brand and stay in your environment and then trust you to purchase something perhaps down the road when you begin monetizing, which is the next section that we'll talk about in just a second here. Now, I'm not saying you need to create content every day. In fact, I wouldn't recommend creating content every day. What I would recommend is create a rhythm of content that you can create within your means and your ability, and then turn it up one dial, because we can always push ourselves just a little bit more, going one dial up, right? So that might mean a weekly podcast for you. That might mean a weekly blog post that comes out, plus some social media posts and maybe an email. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you're providing content that's helpful and relevant to the audience that you've built. And number two, that you continually stay on top of people's minds, because that's what this is about. When you are consistent, you stay on top of people's minds and you can become the go-to resource a little bit more quickly and a little bit more easily. Nobody's going to share you as a resource if you don't show up as a resource from time to time. But again, how do you do this? How do you make this easy? Well, number one, having systems in place is important. This is something that took me years to understand, that there are many things that we as content creators do that are repeatable. And if they are repeatable, we can make them more efficient. And I remember the first time and this was back when I was writing a lot of blog posts, I would just kind of go about doing it and thinking that I was always doing the same thing, but there was always a mess and there was always stuff that got in the way. And it wasn't until there was a tool, I can't even remember the name of the tool, but it was a tool that allowed me to create a checklist of things for tasks. And I just started like, okay, I'm going to write a task for everything I'm doing for the next blog post that I'm writing. And it was like 30 things. And I was like, that's a lot. And I think I can consolidate that and make it faster. And I did. I was able to cut my blog post writing time by 60% as a result of just, number one, paying attention to what I was doing, and number two, consciously trying to make it better, efficient, right? So that's called productivity. There's a reason why product is a part of productivity, because it allows you to create those things, to create product, whether it's, a product you're selling or a product for your own brand or business, right? So Robin says, finding what is repeatable and making it more efficient. That is the key. Indeed. Thank you, Robin. So a system, creating systems. Now, you can go overboard with this. You can get to a point where you're like, step 17, move mouse here. Use your best judgment and just try to, also trust yourself with some of this stuff. But at the same time, if you have the ability to write things on a checklist, guess what you also have the ability to do down the road? To give that checklist to somebody else. so that you no longer have to be the person. I'd still recommend starting out being the person who, for example, publishes your podcast or publishes your blog posts. But eventually, over time, you can hand it off to somebody else to give you more time back to focus on a new platform, or to focus on writing a book, or more time with your family, or building your next big thing, or building relationships, right? Michael says, I love going overboard making systems. All right, so that's how you can grow an audience, right? So a couple more things to say about growing your audience here. Let's go back here. So A, stop guessing. Your audience is the answer. It's so hard to write and talk at the same time. Your audience is the answer. If you're never sure what's going to work, or if this blog post is something of value, ask around. Ask to see if people are interested in the thing that you're thinking about. Your audience can tell you things, so you don't have to guess anymore. This is why it's important to do what we talked about earlier, getting found, building your email list. And also, you don't need to necessarily even have an email list. You can just join conversations on social media. You now have a mini platform that you can go to start asking questions and seeing what you can do to immerse yourself in that brand and niche, and understand what more people might need help with. B, don't overcomplicate. Most people will by default complicate the tasks. We always complicate things for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because we don't believe things could be so simple, or because we want to just add more work because we think more work and overcomplication will make it better, but that's not true. One of my most recent videos talked about a question that Tim Ferriss proposed to me, and that was, will you marry me? No, I'm just kidding. Not that question. He asked, if this were easy, what would it look like? If this were easy, what would it look like? And that question right there helped me remove 80% of the complicated things that I would add that weren't even necessary. We always overcomplicate things, right? So don't overcomplicate. Again, if this were easy, what would it look like? And C, one platform to start with. You might have a website in addition to that, but one platform for your voice. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be your voice like on a podcast. It could be YouTube. It could be even Instagram or TikTok. But when you focus on one platform, and trust me, you're going to want to focus on more, right? You hear about being everywhere, and being everywhere is great, but it doesn't happen right away. You have to master and get involved with one platform and fail on it and get better and learn everything you can about it and invest in resources to help you learn more about it so that you can get that audience going there. And then if you want to build another audience somewhere else, or on a new platform, or expand onto a different medium, guess what? Now you have an audience that will already come and find you there because you've already spent and built this time and trust there. It's so much easier to focus on one platform. And yes, I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive sometimes because your audience is also over here. Your audience is also over here. They're also on YouTube. They're also listening to podcasts. They're also on websites. They're also on Instagram. They're also on LinkedIn. You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to be on all those places. And if you divide your energy across all those different places, you're not giving any one of those places a chance to get to the point where it can help you. You're just going to show up partially on each of these places. Pick one content platform to be your place, right? You always deliver, my friend. I miss this. Love your content. Speaking of my language, one platform. Thank you, Michelle. Right? One platform. Now, this might sound weird coming from me, who has multiple YouTube channels, multiple podcasts, a blog, books, speaking. Those things did not happen at the same time, just to let you know. I started the blog in 2008. I started YouTube in 2009. I started the podcast in 2010. Actually, this is it was actually July 2010. So happy podcast anniversary for who listens to Smart Passive Income. So thank you. One platform. Tell me in the chat if you agree with that. Let me know by saying one platform to start. Again, you might feel like you're pigeonholing yourself there, but I promise you, you will be stronger there, and you can then bring your audience to another place, right? So one platform. Let's actually write this down. One platform. I'm giving you almost your next steps right now. One platform. 1,000 emails. That's your next sort of goal. one platform, 1,000 emails, and then one offer to start. It could be your own product, but I'll share with you a monetization strategy that'll make it so much easier to promote something else and get paid for it too. This is your rung on your ladders, right? This is your ladder here. To start small, one platform, maybe one additional social platform if it's like a podcast and then you say Instagram, or a podcast and Twitter or what have you, right? 1,000 emails. When you get 1,000 emails, that's so many people that you can actually then reach out to, that you could serve, that can give you advice on what you can build for them. All right? And then one offer. One thing that you could offer those people to start your journey. Because the truth is, you don't and are not going to make 7 figures overnight, perhaps even ever. But you start with $1, and then you can make the next 10. Then you could make the 100 and the 1,000 and the tens of thousands. It takes time, I'm not going to lie to you, but it starts small. So let's like, I feel like entrepreneurship is almost like driving on this freeway with a million lanes, right? It's just a million lane freeway. And what do we do on this freeway? We go all the way over here, and then we go all the way over here, and then we go, like, we have no guidance. So this is the curb that I'm putting down for you. One platform, stay in that lane, get 1,000 emails there, and then share an offer with them, right? And that's like the only focus. And yes, you're going to want to learn about this other thing. You're going to want to learn about Pinterest. You're going to hear about live streaming and go, oh, should I do that? No. Focus on the one platform. All right? Just high five for that. Boom. Focus on the one platform. And remember, you have to be a disaster before you become the master. Michael says, sorry, one offer means one thing you could sell them? Yes, indeed. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Because we're going to talk about the final question here or the second to final question, which is, how do we begin to monetize? How do we begin to monetize? So let me go over some very common ways that people might think that we can monetize. And these things do work. So, whoa, cancel. I'm on a hidden layer. We're not gonna, there we go. One, why is it? Hold on. Oh, okay. I got it. Watch this. There are the marks, and I don't want those marks, so let me erase them. All right. How might you begin to monetize? 1, sponsors and advertisements. Big shout out to AppSumo, by the way, in case you missed it. AppSumo is sponsoring today, appsumo.com. They have some amazing tools to help you on your journey across all different spectrums of your business, and literally the best deals that you can get. In fact, I use it myself to find different tools that can help me in different ways. So definitely check them out, appsumo.com. So as you can tell, sponsorships and advertising works. They paid me to mention them here, and you'll see them in another email or two. And in exchange, they get a little bit of love from the community and the audience here that they weren't able to build themselves because they have their own thing and they're reaching out to new audiences. However, the trouble with this is you need a larger audience in order for this to work. Sometimes sponsors, advertisers, and other companies won't even want to talk to you until you have a certain number of downloads, a certain number of views, a certain number of people who visit your website. So I wouldn't even start with sponsors and advertisement for you on your journey. Number 2, you can create your own products. This is an amazing way, and this is actually what I started with, creating your own products to serve your audience. Through your email list of 1,000 people that you're going to have on your email list, or even if it's like 500 or even 100 people on your email list, you might be able to start understanding what you could potentially create for them. And that may be an online course, it may be a book, it might be something else, a coaching program, a consultation of sorts. Oftentimes people may go, Pat, what should I do first, right? This is their first question to me. I'm thinking of starting a business, Pat. Should I build an online course? Should I build a coaching program? And I'm like, you're asking the wrong questions. Who's in your audience and what do they need help with? Let that inform what it is that you create for them, right? And so that's how you can then understand what you should try. And then again, don't go big, start small. So start small. And if you are creating your own product, here's the secret. Find one person. You see how I'm making things easier for you? And get one result. And learn how to spell. Find one person and get one result. That's the secret. One person, one result. Why only one person? Because when you try to find that one person, you're going to learn a lot about what it takes to capture a person's attention, to get them interested in something that you might have to offer, right? To even have them listen to you about it. When you start working with them, you're going to see what it's like to actually work with that person and help them through some specific goal or outcome that they're looking for, a transformation, if you will. And after you've helped them, you're going to have an amazing testimonial from a real person who may or may not have paid you. Maybe you walk them through this process for free, or maybe you get a smaller amount to start. But B, you're going to have the confidence that what it is that you are offering out there actually works for people. And when you unlock that, everything changes. I remember when I first sold my online course, Power of Podcasting, actually, it wasn't until I finally started to see people have their podcast up and tell me how the podcast has changed their lives that I started to go, oh my gosh, I've been holding back. I need to share this with as many people as possible, right? Risard says, what's the tool you're using to draw? I'm using an iPad, actually. It's just an iPad right here, connected to my computer as a second screen, and I could write on it. It's pretty cool, right? So yeah, one person, one result if you're creating your own stuff. But it can be very, very sort of nerve-wracking to create your own stuff. It can take a lot of time depending on what it is, and it is putting yourself out there. There's actually an easier way. The way I would recommend you start generating an income sooner than later, and that's something called affiliate marketing. Now, a lot of people have a very negative connection with what affiliate marketing actually is, and that's because nobody's taught you how to do it correctly. Because for me, marketing, the best kind of marketing is when you get paid because you've actually helped somebody first, right? Serve first, a way where everybody wins. Now, affiliate marketing, if you don't know, is the ability for you to recommend or share another person or another company's product in exchange for a commission, if a person actually ends up buying that product. The cool thing is that there's no real loss here for anybody, ever. A company is not paying you up front, hoping to get views or hoping to get people to be customers. They will pay you if and only if you send people through. And the cool thing about this is if you approach it with a first attitude, not a commission first attitude, that's the problem. There's a lot of programs you could promote that will pay you a lot of money. So what happens is people find these programs that pay a huge commission, sometimes hundreds of dollars per person who comes through, sometimes thousands. And they ram it down everybody's throat on their email list, and that doesn't feel good, especially if it doesn't align or they didn't really do their research and it doesn't really treat them well or does what it says. You don't want to promote things that you've never used or don't trust wholly. But it is of service to recommend other people's products because guess what? There's so much noise out there. You are actually, by saying, hey guys, there's a lot of stuff out there, but I recommend you get this thing. And here's why, and here's how it can help you. You've actually helped save a person a ton of time. And you are cutting through all the noise out there to help a person realize and find the product that actually works for them. Most of my income generated online has been generated through affiliate marketing ever since 2009. Because I first started affiliate marketing when I started promoting a product architectural-based website. It was a website to help people pass an exam. And it was a practice exam that I actually took that I then partnered with. Many companies have an affiliate program. Amazon has an affiliate program. And I started promoting it, and I made $22 per sale. I ended up making more money through promoting that practice exam company than my own product. And here's the cool thing about affiliate marketing that many people don't even realize, right? Let's move this aside. Number one, wow, that's very big. That's what I get for zooming in. Okay. That looks very granular. I don't want to do it that way. So affiliate marketing. Okay, let's do it. Sure, let's do it this way. Affiliate marketing. Number one. I'm doing this on the fly, yo. How are you getting your audience's email for SPI podcast before you offer anything? So you might offer a lead magnet or something, or say, hey, here's a free video about how to do this really quick thing that you know you want to do. Send me your email, I'll give it to you. So that's called a lead magnet, right? So number one, affiliate marketing. One of the benefits is you don't have to create the product yourself. You don't have to create the product. The product already exists. In fact, if you want to know what to promote your audience, you can do this right now. You can ask your audience right now, that whoever you have, if you have an email list or social or whatever, you can just ask them, what's the last thing you purchased that was really helpful for you related to blank? they're going to tell you what they've already purchased. Now, those people won't become people who help you with the affiliate stuff. But if those people bought it and they're a part of your audience, chances are if you promote this to other people in your audience, they're going to want it too. Obviously, do your research, but you don't have to create the product, which takes a ton of time. Number 2, you can get started right now. This is the quickest and easiest way to begin starting to generate an income, is to find a product that fits with your audience, talk about it, share how you've used it, and let people know how they can get it too through an affiliate link, right? So that's number 2. Number 3. So number 2 was what? Start now. Number 3 is customer service is handled by others, right? All you have to do is send people through a link. That's all you have to do. People through a link. And if they purchase, there you go. And I have a whole course on affiliate marketing. In fact, we have a special bundle offer that we're going to offer you right after this program to get you involved with these things to get the results sooner than later if you're interested. So more on that in a sec. But I do want to talk about one more thing with relation to affiliate marketing. You do have to be upfront with the fact with your audience that what it is you're promoting is something that you can get paid for. There are laws involved with affiliate marketing, and there's a lot more to talk about than I can talk about here in the next few minutes, but that is something just to keep in mind. You don't want to pretend it's your product. You don't want to essentially let the consumer know that they're, the FDA or not the FDA, FTC. We're not talking about Food and Drug Administration. We're talking about the Federal Trade Commission. They want to make sure consumers know when there's some special deal going on between two companies before promotion happens. But the truth is, if you can find products that relate to your audience, especially if you build trust, will actually thankfully go through your affiliate link so that you can get paid as a thank you, because it's at no extra cost to them. It's at no extra cost. In fact, I've had a lot of people when new products come out say, "Hey, Pat, do you have an affiliate for this affiliate link for this product? I just want to pay you back in some way for all the value you've been providing." So that's what we need to do. So let me ask you, what was the most valuable thing you learned today? I'll answer some questions as we go along as well. Somebody asked, well, how big does your audience need to be before you start affiliate marketing? Well, that's actually a really interesting question. Like, imagine that you have a really helpful tool that could help somebody. And a person came to you and said, "Hey, I need that tool. Do you have something that can help me?" And you go, "Yeah, but my audience isn't big enough. I don't want to share it with you yet." That seems kind of weird. You wouldn't actually do that in real life. So you can just start affiliate marketing right now. There's a lot of companies, even Amazon and others, that will let you start affiliate marketing way earlier in your journey than you think. In fact, sometimes you don't even need to apply to get an affiliate link, and you can start generating an income here and there as your business grows. It's almost like planting seeds. You're planting these affiliate links in your blog posts, in your podcast episodes, and your videos now. And then over time, as your business grows, people go back and listen to those things or watch and read those things. And those things can continue to generate income for you passively over time, right? There's a science and an approach to affiliate marketing that I teach in a course, but that's generally how it works, right? One platform, let's see, aha moment, you got to be a disaster before you become the master. Michael says one platform. Let's see, affiliate income, says Michelle, for sure. Approach from place of offering value and helping. Most important lesson that encompasses. That's right. You want to provide value first. Serve first. Your earnings are a byproduct of how well you serve your audience. And that's really the key. That's really the key. So again, what was the most valuable thing that you learned today? My favorite tool was to improve someone's day. That's great. And we all love for someone to make our day. Indeed, Haiti. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And especially in the long run and where business is going with relation to communities and relationships and stuff, it's not just about putting a blog post up and getting found, but it's more than that. It's deeper. It's the human to human interaction. When you can really step up and immerse yourself in a space and lean into who that target audience is, and then understand what their challenges and their problems are and create content for them and create programs and recommend products to them, that's when we win. And the truth is, if you do the math, you likely don't think you likely don't need a 7-figure business to do something really amazing for your life. And in fact, when I coach different students, they tell me they want to be a 7-figure entrepreneur. I'm like, okay, well, tell me exactly how much money you would need in order to live happily. It's usually within the $100,000 to $200,000 range per year. It's a completely different business model. And when you build the quality audience, like I'm trying to teach you how to build, when you start small and then you grow with trust and authority that comes with the relationships that you build and the platforms that you have, you can build an amazing platform in a business with a small group of people. You don't need a blockbuster hit. You just need to be somebody's hit. You don't need to change the world. You just need to change somebody's world. So here are your next steps. Here are your next steps. 2 things to do from here. Number 1, lean into your niche. Whatever you can do to immerse yourself into that space even more, the better. Who are the players there? Who are the companies that are offering products to that audience? Where are they? What events do they go to? What are really their problems? Try to have conversations with those people. Lean into them. Lean into them. Number 2, continue to serve and build your audience. Remember, we talked about those numbers. 1 platform, which, I mean, the reason why we say 1 platform is because we don't want you to spread yourself and your energy thin. I see a question here from Manuel that says, create content through blog posts and podcasts would be considered 1 platform. That's kind of 1.5, if you will, because the blog and the podcast sort of work hand in hand together sometimes, especially if your transcript and or written summaries about those podcasts are on your blog posts, for example. You don't need to change the world. You just need to change somebody's world. Indeed, Michelle. And then continue to serve that audience. What do you need help with? What are the challenges? What are the struggles right now? That's where all the answers to what will make your business successful come from. Because that helps you determine what content to create. That helps you to determine what PDF files or videos you can create that can become lead magnets to bring people into your email list. That can help you determine what products to recommend as an affiliate. And that can help you determine what products to create and how you will be positioned in the space that you're in, such that it doesn't even matter who else is there. It doesn't even matter that there are other brands in the same space as you that have 10 times, 100 times more of an audience, because you will have your audience and your people, right? So I wanted to ask your permission, because I had mentioned this a couple times, but we at Team SPI put something special together that is perfect for people who are just starting out. We have a number of courses. In fact, we have 8, I think even 10 courses now. We wanted to provide something for you as a beginner that would best serve you with what your next steps could be. So we got a lot of yeses. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So here is the special offer. Our 2 most popular online courses, which are Power Up Podcasting. We've had thousands of people go through this, as well as 1, 2, 3 affiliate marketing. We talked a lot about podcasting and affiliate marketing today. Podcasting to help you grow your audience, affiliate marketing to help you with monetizing that audience in an authentic way without being sleazy, right? Normally, these things cost quite a bit. This is what we're calling the breakout bundle, because we want you to break out. You've been in this almost shell for a while now, and this is the time to break out, right? If you imagine an egg that's broken from the outside because of external factors, because of these other things that other people are putting onto you. When an egg cracks outside, that's when things end, right? But imagine an egg cracking from the inside, breaking out. What does that actually mean? It means life is just beginning, that you are able to now explore and do all these things that you weren't able to do before. And that's what I feel like you're at. You're coming out of your shell right now. So this breakout bundle, it normally costs quite a bit. In fact, we have premium courses. We don't sell, cheap courses, because we know the return on investment that people have had within our stuff. We spend extra time to make sure you succeed with it. So retail prices for each of these courses are $799 for our podcasting course. Yeah, $799 and $499 for our affiliate marketing course. And again, we've had thousands of people invest and say that these courses are worth that price. But because you're just starting out, and we've never done this before, we've never packaged these 2 products together before, we're actually creating something special for you. For the next week and the next week only, as a result of you getting excited about starting your journey, we're going to offer the breakout bundle, these 2 courses together, for simply $99. $99 to get started. That's a monthly payment plan for 12 months at just $99. Or you could save a little bit of money and get the one-time payment, $899, for both. And this is an absolute steal. And remember what I said earlier about knowing you have something of value to help and serve other people with. Now, yes, you could go on YouTube and find information about how to do this stuff, even some of it from me. But the truth is, these courses were built specifically to help serve you and hold you accountable and actually have some skin in the game so you get the work done. And we've had thousands of success stories, and this is where you need to go. smartpassiveincome.com/breakout. smartpassiveincome.com/breakout. And I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes here answering questions for you. But again, smartpassiveincome.com/breakout to get both the ability for you to build an all-star podcast that you can bring all-star guests into. We have everything in there from scripts to help you reach out to people, to how to plan your content, to how to promote it, how to edit it, how to hand off that editing to others, how to monetize your podcast if you wanted to. Michelle here says, yes, YouTube has a lot of info, but that would take forever for you to get to your results. Love your courses, Pat. So good, simple to implement. Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. So smartpassiveincome.com/breakout. The first and only time we've ever offered something like this before. And it's perfect for the beginners. We handpick these things. We gave you a great deal on them. Now, if you're not sure, a couple things working in your favor. Number one, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you are not at all interested after you get into it and you're like, this isn't for me, nobody's ever said that. But in case that's the case, we want to give you an out. So smartpassiveincome.com/breakout. If by 29 and a half days you're not interested in it, then let us know. No questions asked. We know that we have something of value here to offer you. We've structured it in a way that it's easy to go through, as Michelle said. And in addition to the courses, you also get access to me every week for 2 hours. And this is something that I was contemplating not adding in here because it is definitely something that is takes a lot of time. And to offer that for such a little price when I charge sometimes thousands of dollars per hour for my one-on-one coaching, but I want you to succeed. And I have a group coaching office hours that happens every single week as long as these courses exist. Whether you get started this week or even next month or after summer, and you just want to take advantage of this deal, you're always welcome to come into office hours and you get to connect with other people and ask questions too. And many people tell me that office hours are worth the value alone here for even one of our courses, let alone you're getting two. Olivia says, are courses discounted for SPI Pro members? I believe that your SPI Pro membership discount should work with this. And if you want to talk about this and ask for help, look at Jillian in the SPI Pro community for more information on that. Or you could DM Jonathan as well. Pat helped me start and grow my podcast, and I know he can help you too. Pat is amazing. Take him up on his offer. Love Pat. His office hours alone are worth it. Thank you, Boris. And again, I've seen you there multiple times before. And again, these two courses available for the first time ever together at a ridiculously low price. smartpassiveincome.com/breakout. And again, we're here to serve you and help you with that. So both those courses, I recommend taking the podcasting one first. If you have any sizable audience, even over 100 people on an email list already, then you can even start the 123 affiliate marketing course too. But both of those will be lifetime access for you, and you'll have access to all the content, even if you come in at the $99 a month plan, which is such a steal. Again, you likely pay for something like cable television. That's going to do what? Just take your time away. This is something that will give you time and money back. And that's the idea here, right? I'm already belong to PUP, and it's great, but now I really want to join 123 affiliate marketing. Amazing offer. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. And again, hopefully this helps set the tone for what your next steps are going to be. Build an audience, build that email list, give them an offer. When it comes to affiliate marketing, you might even use a product that you could recommend to your audience already. What's really cool about the way we teach affiliate marketing is you can also build relationships with those companies that you're promoting. You'll see that in 123 affiliate marketing. And you can even get better deals. You can even get higher commissions. Sometimes those companies are going to send you products for free that you can review and share with your audience, thus helping you create even more content after that. Are there lifetime updates, says GTO. Yes, you get lifetime updates. In fact, Power Up Podcasting is on its 2.0 version, which came out late last year. And we're always, that was like a massive overhaul. But we're always updating small components as news comes out with relation to podcasting there too. Michael says, do you have anything for someone who is looking for an audience for products they've already created? I already know how to podcast and do affiliate marketing. We have our Traffic Booster Workshop, which is a $99 workshop to help you get more traffic. But in terms of like selling a product that you already have. It depends on what it is, right? If it's an online course, it's going to be a different approach than promoting consulting, than different than promoting coaching. Michael, reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter. I'd love to learn more about what it is that you're promoting and see. I might even have some podcast episodes that might be able to help you with your particular situation. I think that the psychology of pricing and that kind of thing can be really important for you. So I wouldn't recommend getting in these offers if you already have a podcast or are doing affiliate marketing, but you have your own product already. Invest in yourself. The time to start is now. So again, smartpassiveincome.com/breakout, and we will send you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know from there. There's a great question here from Ted. Do you cover audio equipment in Power Up Podcasting? Absolutely. And in fact, many people have argued with me about the types of equipment that I promote, because there are many audiophiles out there who are like, you need this and then that and all these little boxes to have like the best audio in the world. And the truth is, after everything is compressed, you don't need those things. You just need something that will make you sound great. And so the equipment that I share in Power Up Podcasting is the minimal that you'll need to spend to sound the best possible, because I don't want you to have to break an arm and a leg to get this done. I want to provide you the lowest friction possible to get you up and running. We've had people like Sophie Walker, who is a student of Power Up Podcasting. She started her podcast from scratch, no business, no email list, nothing. And it's now her full-time thing. She's in Australia. Her podcast is called Australian Birth Stories, and she interviews pregnant moms about their birthing story, or moms who had just given birth. I think she's at 6 million downloads now. It's her full-time job with ads and sponsorships. And she also does courses. And many Australian agencies or health-related organizations require their employees to listen to her show. How cool is that? So cool. Zane says, how does this breakout combo fit with Smart from Scratch? Smart from Scratch is there to help you if you still need help finding an idea and nailing your niche. But if you have an inkling of what your niche is, these courses will help you, because you will be able to then get into and immerse yourself, like I said, into those different audiences. Thank you. Sounds great. You're welcome, Ted. All right, everybody. Well, I'll send you some emails with some more information and next steps and other things that summarize this. We'll also send you a link to the replay as well. But I just want to say thank you for your time and attention today. We sped through and got through a lot of things here today, but we went through, remember, how to get found. That means creating content that is of value to others that are out there. And yes, you could do push marketing, where you're out there and you're going outbound and you're paying for ads and all this kind of stuff. But rather inbound marketing for you to attract people, because you've built the right relationships, because you're writing about the right things, and SEO starts to play a role. People are sharing it within their communities and word of mouth. You're joining conversations. That's how you can get found. And I would much rather you find the right people, tight core group of people that you can then build an audience with. That's step 2 that we talked about today. Getting not just found, but collecting those people, putting them in an email list to better serve them, and also have them serve you. Also have them tell you what they need help with, what their struggles are, what their challenges are, right? And the ability for you to then go out there and create some resources to build that audience of 1,000 emails, right? On one content platform, perhaps podcast. And then monetization, focusing on affiliate marketing. What products out there exist already that target audience is already purchasing and buying? From there, that's where you can start generating an income sooner than later as you're creating your own products, which takes a little bit more time and effort. So final question here. Couple questions. Peter says, I already have good gear and good software skills and even have a podcast up and running, but want to launch a new podcast. Would this still be a good investment for me? Oh, absolutely. To get it at this deal, along with the affiliate marketing course to go on top of it, these two play well hand in hand together. And again, Peter, if you're in there and you're like, I already know all this stuff, then of course we could talk about it and get you your money back. But many people who have taken Power Podcasting had podcasts already and were able to create something newer and better and faster and more efficient with the systems that I teach you, and to help you nail exactly what the show is going to be about, your content plan, how to launch it especially. So yes, I definitely think so. And again, you have an out in case this is not right for you. smartpassiveincome.com/breakout. Haiti says, what fears did you have before engaging with your audience that came true and some that didn't come true? My biggest fear was that I would look like an idiot, right? That I would be laughed at, that people wouldn't want to hear from me and even get upset at me. But every time I've taken the approach of serve first, even if people don't want the help, nobody's ever been mean about that. Nobody's ever said anything negative about me for wanting to offer help, right? And if they do, oftentimes you find out after a little bit of digging that it's something that had happened in their lives. This is where trolls and haters really come from. Hurt people hurt people. So hurt people will try to hurt you because something has hurt them. And you can't take that personally. You have to realize that it's on them and not you. You just happen to be the one showing up that they can then release this stuff to. And many times those people who were haters or trolls have now become some of my biggest fans because I start to realize, well, where are they coming from, right? I'm not saying you need to engage with your haters or trolls. In fact, the best advice is probably just to ignore them. But again, that's the approach that I take. And then finally, I just had a lot of ridiculous fears, right? Like people would, start sharing how I was like a scammer or a con artist or something because I was selling things. But the truth is that people have thanked me more than anything. I don't know if you could see this here, but there is a board, all those things back there. It's kind of hard to see because the microphone is focused. Those are all thank you notes. And that's just a fraction of the thank you notes that have been sent over as a result of the value that I provide. And that's what I want. My barometer for success is, can I get a person to realize that I've poured into them so much in some way, shape, or form, whether one-on-one or in a group call like this, or maybe in a course, that they would muster up some time to send me a handwritten thank you note. And no, it's not trackable. Not everybody's going to do that. But as long as I continue to get those, that means I'm doing things the right way. And I would implore for you to take the same approach. How might you pour into somebody so much that they're going to come around and go, wow, I can't help but take advantage of this offer you're selling, or I can't help but take some time to write a thank you note, or even just reach out to you and say how much of an impact you've made. And that's my goal here. I want to become a part of your story, and hopefully this is the beginning of that for you. I'm really excited. So thank you so much. Again, big shout out and thank you to AppSumo again for sponsoring this. If you have any business or technology or app or tool needs, I definitely recommend you check them out. Again, that is appsumo.com. The breakout bundles here, as you can see, you can get it at $99 per month for 12 months, which is an absolute steal. You can save a little bit of money by enrolling now here on the green button, and some more information about what is involved with each of these courses. Each of these courses are really great. And just to show you proof that people are in here. So Power Up Podcasting, right? If I take you to the first lesson, and these videos are just minutes long, right? So 2, 1, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. These are bite-sized chunks to help you actually go forward and through the course. So, hey, I'm actually wearing the same shirt. That's kind of funny. But at the beginning of this course, I ask people who take this to tell me that they're committed to starting a podcast. And look at this, 3,008 comments from 6 hours ago, 18 hours ago. I'm committed to starting my podcast. I'm committed. Eric says, I'm committed. Carrie from 3 days ago, I'm committed. Isaac, I'm committed. Michelle, I'm committed. All these people, 3,000 of them, how about in the affiliate marketing course? Same thing. And again, this is hosted through Teachable, so you'll never get lost. And again, office hours once a week. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. These are real people who are getting results through these courses. And again, we have the special bundle for you. One more time, smartpassiveincome.com/breakout. Thank you everybody for coming in today. I appreciate you. This has been an absolute blast, and I hope you enjoyed the lessons and the masterclass and the special offer that will be only available through next Monday. So thanks so much for your time and attention. Keep up the good work. Keep putting yourself out there because that's where all the great things happen. And wishing you all the best. Take care, everybody. Thank you.